Paris.
Right. This is like one of a kind of refreshment. So I do relish this opportunity to hold word with you. I've never given it the opportunity to speak to someone in this position as in Iran. And I very, very, very appreciate you taking time on it.
It's very such a pleasure.
So could you give us a synopsis of yourself, sir?
So, my name's Brigadier Karl. I'm a serving British Army officer. I'm currently the director of the Army's Land Army Staff College, which is responsible for the professional military education of the Army's lieutenants, captains and majors at the earliest stages of their military careers. And it is my pleasure to be here on Kumbaya to commemorating and celebrating our forefathers and company of veterans. Which has been quite an awesome weekend.
So, where were you originally from, sir?
So I'm from Plymouth, that's where I was born, but my dad is from Jamaica, and my maternal grandparents came from India in 1947. So a really rich mixture of continents and cultures.
So, could you talk us briefly through life before the Army?
Life before the Army. So, as a child, the first 12 years of my life, my dad was serving, so he served for 22 years as a soldier in the Royal Artillery. So I grew up in that military environment. Most of that time was spent in Germany. It was a fabulous experience. Then my teen years were based in Plymouth. During that time, because of the mobile nature of military life, I went to quite a number of different secondary schools. I went to Service Children's School in Germany. I went to secondary school in the Outer Hebrides. I went to secondary school in a place called Southway in Plymouth. My parents then bought a house elsewhere in Plymouth, so I went to another school. And after my GCSEs, I then went to my final secondary school, so Welbeck College, which was at the time the Army's sixth form college, and that was to study my A-levels, and then from there go into the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst to try to become a commissioned officer.
Joining the Army, certain things wasn't new due to the fact that your father was already serving. So how did you find it to be a person? How did you find being in an environment that you do what you've been told when to do and how to do? How did you deal with that?
So, fundamentally, I was familiar with military environments, had a familiarity with rank and hierarchy and structure, but I didn't know it that well because Dad was a soldier, he retired as a warrant officer, so I was very, very clear on those ranks. I had some appreciation of the ranks above, but I didn't really have that much appreciation necessarily for the rules and regulations that come with military life when you're serving. But Welbeck College provided the structure, the discipline, as a really good interim stepping stone from secondary school in a normal comprehensive to the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, which of course brought an awful lot more structure, discipline and rules. So it wasn't a completely alien world, but like all different environments, it requires some adjustments. What it also provided was an awful lot more demands of your time, of your personal administration, physical demands and intellectual demands, because taking on a lot of information and learning a lot of new things. So at the time I was 19 years old, still relatively young, pretty fit. Most of the body was working pretty well, unlike how it is now 31 years later. And actually it was, if I'm honest with you, it's the extension of school insofar as an opportunity to learn things, learn new things, look at role models, create new friendships, be tested in a demanding environment. So it was, it's fun actually, demanding, but it's fun.
We can safely say your motivation came from your father. The fact that you're of this wrong, you're a role model to many. People strive to be where you are, possibly, if it's possible.
I hope so.
Yes, definitely. So, how did you find your first unit, or say, let's rewind to basic training, if there was anything you thought it would be like?
At that stage in life, and I don't think this is unique, I wasn't really thinking too much about the future. I didn't have any grand plans of what life would be like beyond the next thing, if I'm honest with you, and whether that thing was the next parade, or the next exercise, or the next essay, or the next physical test. Then probably looked a little bit further beyond Sandhurst into the officers course, where I was learning my trade as a young Royal Artillery officer. Again, it was my focus was mostly on trying to make sure that I met the various challenges that were put in front of me. So didn't necessarily look too far forward, but the little was hugely surprising, partly because of a degree of familiarity, but mostly because before going to these places, people would describe what we were going to do and what was expected of us. So nobody was trying to catch us out. When getting to the 1st Regiment, it felt kind of like I was going home, partly because as a child, I'd been in Manta Barracks where my 1st Regiment was, so the physical environment was very, very familiar to me. My very first battery commander, my father had served with him. My very first commanding officer, he'd served with my father. And there were other people in the regiments who were junior soldiers when they joined, were now more senior soldiers. And when they joined, my dad was serving, they're now more senior soldiers and I'm a junior officer. So there was an overlap, and it kind of felt like I was part of a bigger, wider family. And then, like all new adventures, you're learning your craft, aren't you? You're learning about your people, you're forming relationships, you're learning about your trade craft. So it wasn't really fundamentally any different to it would be going into any new job in another sector, let alone in the army.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. So I realize you've got quite a lot of medals. Is it possible to ask for your tours? So if you could name them for us, if that's alright, if I'm not asking you too much. It's
It's fine. So that's for Operation Banner in Northern Ireland. That's for Operation Telek, so in Iraq. That's for Operation Herrick in Afghanistan. And that's for Operation Shader in Iraq and Syria, and the border Middle East. And then you have an array of Jubilee medals. That's the accumulated campaign service medal, and that is the long service people medal, and that is for being appointed CB.
Of all the tours that you have gone, which is the most memorable?
Oh my goodness, they're all memorable for different reasons. They all provide plenty of memories, actually. An operational role I was fulfilling, for which I didn't earn any medals at all, was at the United States Central Command in Tampa, in Florida, which on the face of it people go, oh, it's amazing, you're going to Florida. It was amazing being in Florida, but your family's not there. And going to somewhere like Afghanistan, I didn't have any particular desires for my family to be with me in Garmsir in the Helmand River Valley. And so when deployed to operational theatres like Iraq and Afghanistan, that sense of separation, I can only speak for myself, but certainly the sense of separation, yes, you feel it, you do miss your family all over it, of course you do. But you're in the moment and it's a 24/7, very, very intense environment. Whereas fulfilling a role in Florida, in Tampa, a really lovely place, I've certainly felt the separation a great deal more from my wife and from our children than I had done in other places. So they all bring different memories and in different ways. In terms of those in the operational phases, the one abiding memory, or rather the one abiding theme for all of them, is the strength in the coalitions that come together with a shared sense of purpose to achieve operational and over the time strategic outcomes. And in Afghanistan, the first tour, I was the only native English speaker in a French-led brigade in Kabul province, and so needed to learn about different ways of communicating, about doctrine and different military cultures, and so that was useful, very, very useful. And then you go to a very, very different environment where, most recently, as the Deputy Commander General of a Combined Joint Task Force led by the Americans, we were across the Middle East, and we were a coalition of many, many, many nations dealing with a common threat.